What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to 4 Strategy Gaming. I've got another StarCraft 2 commentary for you today. Today's matchup between MaNa and Strelok. We can see here spawning in the lower right position of Shakur's Plateau. We do have MaNa as our blue Protoss player, and here in the bottom left as our teal Terran player is Strelok. So yes, a TVP here on Shakur's Plateau, Strelok versus MaNa. Just finished casting the Idra vs TT1 series. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was nuts. If you haven't checked it out already, please go ahead and do so. After this, I'm going to probably be doing one more StarCraft 2 commentary for the day, trying to keep you guys as entertained as possible. I really, I came out with the schedule, and I think that's a great basis, but really want to make sure, this is my job, so I want to make sure that I'm coming out with a lot of content for you guys to keep you consistently entertained and have stuff for you guys to watch, because obviously if you like my commentary, you'd like to see more of it. So given that that's the case, I'm going to be trying to really do a good job of being pretty consistent with the amount of content that I am churning out for you guys. And yeah, that about does it. Besides that, I'm a busy guy. I'm actually, I mentioned in a prior video, but I'm training for a triathlon right now. I've always been about, working out and staying healthy, and I love the outdoors. I love to kayak and bike and hike and all sorts of things, and doing a triathlon or even eventually Ironmans is something I've always wanted to do but never actually did, and I put my foot down. I'm like, I'm doing it. So yeah, I've been so busy doing this work and training for that triathlon. I'm excited, looking forward to it. I'll keep you guys updated, but let's talk about some StarCraft right now. We can see Strelok moving out right now with his scout. Moving out with the scout. MaNa will be moving right into Strelok's base. Strelok not opening standard at all, just sitting with that Rax, no refinery, so he will be fast expanding. Back over here, looks like MaNa looking pretty normal right now. We'll want to keep an eye on to when his second assimilator comes down. Obviously, that Cybernex core should be up right now, but he was a little distracted inside of the main of Strelok, checking to see when those refineries were coming out. So a little bit late on that Cybernex core, but that's okay. We'll give him a free pass here. SCV Scout moving out right now for Strelok. He'll be headed straight to MaNa's base. We can see Strelok has managed to trap that probe here of MaNa right inside his main. So as soon as that Marine pops, he will be taking that out. Now, what we're going to see right now is obviously MaNa's expecting the expansion. That's pretty much guaranteed, but he wants eyes on it. He at the very least wants to confirm it, because there could be proxy barracks somewhere. He could be getting some crazy early Marine aggression, but unable to do so. We do actually see that expansion has gone down. He just went straight for placing it right as is natural, as opposed to building it inside of the main. Back over here, SCV Scout dancing around, checking those gases, also checking to see if there was a crazy fast robo or Stargate, but needs to get out of there because that stalker is being chrono boosted out. And I think that expecting that fast expansion with that scouting, looks like MaNa himself will be coming down with a quick expansion as well. Going to be using that stalker to try to push out and deny that SCV from moving back in and scouting that expansion. Also, these Marines, nice spread here. That will be used to stop MaNa from walking back in and spotting that expansion. But again, MaNa's pretty sure that expansion's coming, and I don't know. Looks like the SCV Scout for Strelok will be scouting out MaNa's expansion as well. So both players going for very fast expansions. There we go. Strelok now sees it. Stalker heading across the map will be used to soften up these Marines. This is a great tactic, a nice opportunity. He can do a bit of damage, but there we go. Some good micro from those Marines tearing through the shields right now, and MaNa doesn't really want to lose any more than those shields, so he will just be pushing back. Poking up at the stalker, getting a few shots, really softens up those Marines for any early game pushes. Obviously, up until medevacs come out, there's no way for those Marines to heal themselves, so it's just a good little tactic. As long as you just lose shields, not a big deal. And there we go. The SCV Scout has been spotted by the stalker, so the stalker will have no problem taking it out. It's only a few more moments until the SCV is a goner. Back over here for MaNa, we'll be going pretty sentry heavy, I expect. That's pretty much what you see with any fast expand build when you are in a situation where you're against a Terran opponent and you fast expand as Protoss. You really need sentry heavy to defend yourself early game. Otherwise, you're pretty vulnerable to a lot of early game pushes. Back over here for Strelok, does have one tech lab in a reactor coming through. We are seeing that combat shield, so we'll be sitting very, very marine heavy early on in the game. And we do want to keep an eye out. I do expect a factory next and some sort of tech up, but going with that fast combat shield because he is so marine heavy should do a pretty good job of protecting him against any strong early pushes. We could also see a Ghost Academy come down for a Ghost combat shield push. That's possible, although it doesn't appear to be the case. Doesn't look like Strelok will in fact be doing that. We see that concussive shell coming through, so starting to make that transition into some Marauders as well. Back over here, MaNa inside of his main. What does he have going on? Sitting on just the 3 gateways. There is a robotics as well, so we'll be seeing that observer right away. Could be making that transition into Colossus as well, maybe depending on what he scouts with his observer. Kind of sitting in the inside of his main base, possibly worried about a drop and or Reaper harass. We're going to see him just sit idly with his units here. Also, he is scouting the center of the map, so if there is a push across the center, he will be aware of it. So really no reason for him to just sit idly with those units inside or right outside of his natural expansion. Back over here, Engineering Bay coming on out for Strelok, and Concussive Shell has finished, and here comes the push right now. Strelok will be moving out with those combat shields and those Marauders. Not going to be waiting for that stim pack, though. It will be quite some time until that stim pack research has finished, but here comes the push. MaNa is fully aware of that. He will be repositioning his troops right now, and with use of Force Field, he should be just fine. As long as he keeps those sentries tucked away in the back and safe, he should be able to Force Field this army in half, and let's see how much attention he's paying. We do have that Robotics Bay coming on through, as well as additional gateway as well. There we go, SCV leading the way, and lots of sentries. This is concerning for Strelok. I don't think he wants to push, and it looks like he is not going to, especially since he doesn't have Stimpack. If he had Stimpack, it could be a different story. He could still try to push, get enough units in, snipe down the sentries, and then continue up after that point. But given that he doesn't have Stimpack, he's very liable to lose a lot of his army to a force field wall, and then the Zealots and Stalkers just picking off everything on this half of the wall. We'll be sending one Marine here to scout out the third, see if Strelok tries to go for a, see if MaNa tries to go for a very quick third expansion. There is the Observer Scout moving on through. We'll be spotting out, looking for that factory, starport, or anything else that may be going on. Now, again, we do have the Strelok's Colossus coming on out. He is chrono boosting that Thermal Lance out. Here comes that Colossus as well. Still worried about a drop, keeping some of those units inside of his main. We can see General the Gateway Army really low, but that's because he is investing so much into this Colossus early on and getting that Thermal Lance. They just cost so many resources. It really leaves you with a pretty small and just pretty insignificant gateway army when you go for such quick Colossus after that fast expansion. Now we are going to be seeing that transition right now, obviously into Medivacs. We will be seeing that hot swap, that factory lifting off, allowing that starport to land right on that reactor. Still, of course, just churning out those Marines and Marauders. But look at that, we do in fact see some ghosts here. Where did that Ghost Academy end up getting planted? Why do I always why can I not find things? There we go. Ghost Academy is over here in the corner, so we will be seeing some Ghost EMPs, of course, incredibly strong in this matchup, being able to tear right through those Protoss shields and deny the energy of those sentries, as well as being able to deny energy of High Templars if those do come into play. We're seeing a Twilight Council come out, so probably going to be seeing that Templar Archives as well after that. Also, double Forges coming on through. I'm not sure where those are getting dropped. Again, something I can't find. There we go, double Forges. So we will, of course, be seeing some upgrades coming on through as well for MaNa. Back over here, looks like, yes, that factory scout will be moving on through. Hopefully it doesn't just sit idly there forever, though. Now, something to realize, MaNa is expanding, but this is dangerous. He's spreading his resources out into expansions instead of an army, and this is what you're concerned about, a strong push. We've got 2 Ghosts. The Observer is scouting all of this, but that stim pack is now finished. Few more Marauders being built as well, expecting a rally. Yes, they are being rallied where? Being rallied right to the Zelnaga Tower over here, but here comes a strong push from Strelok. We're going to see MaNa sit with his army in the middle. He really needs to protect this third as well as his natural, and there we go, the scan fully detecting everything. He sees the 2 Colossus. He also sees the spread to try to prevent that EMP from doing so much damage. Now, these Ghosts are going to be leading the way, pushing up front, dropping the EMP, and there we go, 1 EMP, 2 AMPs. Here is the stim pack as well. We are seeing some good force fields, but look at those reinforcements, and this is doing quite a bit of damage. Those Colossus tearing through some of that bio, but it doesn't matter. That stim pack and those combat shields allowing those Marines and Marauders to do quite a bit of damage. We'll be trying to chase down this final Colossus. Now, when the Colossus shoots from the high ground, those Marines and Marauders do have vision of it. We've got a couple of Zealots. They don't have the charge upgrade, but still pretty threatening, especially when your Marines and Marauders are at low health. pretty good amount of damage there. Let's take a look at the unit loss tab. It looks like, yes, in fact, Strelok did manage to come out ahead there with a lower count there of resources lost. We'll be trying to engage over here. We do have some stalkers pulling forward, though. The Marines and Marauders have very low health. I don't think they're going to be able to do enough damage to actually be able to work through these stalkers and to continue on that push. Now, here we go. A few more Marauders moving on out. There are a couple of medevacs there as well, and we're going to be seeing Strelok just continue to stream units. He cannot let this expansion sit for too long. If he doesn't do enough damage to take this out, he's in a tough position right now. There we go. Marines and Marauders pushing forward, taking out the last remaining units, and then going straight for that Nexus, and it doesn't look like MaNa will be able to protect it. He doesn't have the units. Drop going down here at the natural as well. Colossus taking that out, but the expansion has been taken care of. Strelok, the damage is done. Resources lost, and we're going to see, again, Strelok quite a bit ahead of MaNa. Now, MaNa should be able to mop up the rest of this drop, but the fact that he lost that expansion is pretty devastating. He will be redropping the Nexus, and there we go. Strelok a little bit overshooting it, but then pulling back that command center, dropping it. And here comes the counterattack, likely from MaNa, but we're going to be seeing some units here moving to the middle. Strelok getting ready to engage it. He wants to try to snap down the Colossus. That was a great opportunity. If he had realized those were there, he could have stimmed and taken out 1 to 2 of those. And there's the stim, going with the weak Colossus first, then moving into another one, and there's 2 Colossus down. The third one, see you later. Zealots should take care of the rest, but those were heavy losses. Losing those Zealots, that's a lot. And a drop inside of the main, doing a bit of damage, mopping up some of those units, but still this consistent drop action that we're seeing here from Strelok is doing a lot of damage and much more harm to MaNa than he is taking for losses himself. So Strelok still in a good position. He has got his expansion up and running. Here comes that planetary fortress for that additional defense and some continued aggression here. Those Marines and Marauders are just non-stop pushing across the map. We've got an Archon coming into play. There are the Zealots. They do finally have charge, but with some micro, once that charge is on cooldown, able to stay away from those Zealots with that concussive shell and that stim pack, doing quite a bit of damage. Getting healed up from those medevacs as well. The Zealots trying to chase down and doing what they can. You can see how durable those Zealots are, even with that micro, but some reinforcements here for Strelok. Managed to mop it up. See you later, Archon, and MaNa in a tough spot. He's just kind of been dealing with so much harassment, and he is just going to call the GG. Strelok opened up the game 1 racks into expand, going Marine heavy for early game defense. Spotting Strelok's fast expansion, MaNa decided to go for a quick expansion himself. Strelok attempted to push out around 8:30 in-game time with a combat shield timing push. However, in scouting the push coming, MaNa was fully prepared, and Strelok decided it best not to engage without stim pack. We saw our first big engagement at the 12-minute mark as Strelok pushed out with a Marine Marauder heavy force and a couple of Ghosts in the mix. We're going to see the clutch EMPs come into play, and Strelok was able to do quite a bit of damage here, mopping up all of the ground army as well as those Colossus. Although he lost a lot of his Marines and Marauders as well, overall he came out on top. Then throughout the course of the rest of the game, we saw a bunch of drop harass from Strelok. This drop harass, along with consistent reinforcements of those Marines and Marauders, was just way too much for him to deal with. And to make matters even worse, we did see Strelok was able to snipe down MaNa's third, and at that point, MaNa was pretty much out of the game. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this commentary. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks again, guys. Keep watching and keep owning.